afternoon. I won't be moving my camera. I can tell that if I sit like this, it's gonna cut a little bit off my head. So I'm gonna try to remember not to sit up and just sit back like this. I said to my son, like, I'm not that girly. And he said, yeah, I know you're not that girly. I was like, what do you mean you know? He said, well, yeah, you're a bit of a tomboy. I didn't realise that my son knew I was a tomboy. I thought he saw me as like a proper girl. He was like, you a girl, you're definitely a tomboy. I was just so surprised. Anyways, my tomboy ways, which I can't even begin to see myself as a tomboy because like I'm such a girl. Look at the way I'm sitting. Is this like supposed to be like rules of like how the sex is supposed to sit? Like if you're feminine, darling, you must sit elegantly like this. Do you think that was just a bunch of crap that was taught of women? Because like who wants to sit like that unless I want to sit like that? If I don't want to sit like that, why am I going to sit like that? I could just rather sit like this. I want to show you sparkle. I'm gonna bring you sparkle. Yes, your baby. How is life with your new mummy? Am I the best mummy ever? She's like, no, you tell me off when I do poo in the wrong places. My baby's a little small baby. Hi, welcome back. She's looking at me like, are you speaking to me? My work week just goes down flat to the ground on a Monday, then it starts climbing back up. And then by Friday, I'm like on a high, like, yes, I love my job. And then I have a weekend and then Mondays come crashing down. Baby, did I scare the baby? But the school that I have on Monday is quite challenging, and honestly by Monday I was ready to die. I was ready to, not even in my depressed way, but yes in my depressed way, but in more in a way of like I give up in this world. I give up the behavior that they give me, but it's not even bad, it's just so confusing. Anyways, every time I leave that school on Monday I'm like, this job's not for me, because why am I going to tell you to be quiet when I'm speaking? If you don't want to listen to me speak, I am gonna leave. But as a teacher, you don't have that option. You have to stay and you have to teach. And so I can't speak while you're speaking. Therefore, I have to tell you to be quiet. She's getting stressed out with me. I'm gonna put her on the sofa. So then what is life anyway? But that's not what we're talking about today, are we? We're talking about imposter syndrome hack. Yeah. So what I want for you is for you to be peaceful, for you to be tranquil, for you to have tranquility of yourself, of your steps in life, and also your experience in the brain. Like in another universe, I know for sure that like I'm not alone and that God is like me and everything is like nice. But for as long as I feel alone and this life shows me that I'm alone, like for sure, then I'm gonna act as if I'm in charge. And if I'm in charge, like I'll rewrite all of the rules, all of the laws, might as well. Even the nature laws or the physics laws, like let's just rewrite everything. Anyways, let me not get myself into that space because I start getting really irritated at God and at all existence, so let's not do that. Do you realise that I don't talk properly sometimes? Anyways, so I want you to be tranquil and peaceful within yourself, so then you're peaceful and confident. Oh my gosh, it's the rambling that I told you about. So I was watching a podcast and I remember like I was shouting out to the people speaking, and I don't like when that happens. I don't like when I start feeling like that, because it's like my body is telling me that I am the one that should be speaking about this.
What?
And what you're saying is not good enough or it's not complete, because it's like, oh no, let me explain it because I could do a better job. So if somebody ever goes to speak over you, I think that's what they're trying to say, that they could do a better job at speaking. When I feel like that, I get so frustrated because there's nothing I can do about technology because it's already happened in the past. And also then I get really frustrated. I watched a little bit of it and then I start feeling like that, and then I stop watching it. And basically they were talking about imposter syndrome, and I thought to myself, okay Nayna, if you have so much to say about it and you think that you could do better than they did at talking about this subject, then let's do a video about it. And so then I did myself a voice note so I could remember everything that I was thinking and saying, and then I listened to the voice note and I wrote my notes. So let's see if I could give you an imposter syndrome hack. Yeah? Way up high over the rainbow. So I was teaching that to the kids today on the piano. That's why it's in my head. I literally just came back from teaching that song. Okay, so let's start with the basics. What is imposter syndrome? Also, why do we have to give it such an ugly name? Or a name that's like so heavy, because syndrome, I swear that like comes with like so much negativity and illness in people. So why do we have to call it syndrome? Imposter syndrome. Why can't we call it imposter feelings? Imposter attitude. So then I was wondering, is imposter syndrome only for work? Because whenever do you ever feel imposter syndrome? And I was like, oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. So basically, imposter syndrome is when you feel like you are not qualified to be there, or you don't deserve to be there, and you're a complete fake, or you feel scared that you're going to end up being a fake, even though you don't think you're a fake, but maybe you are a fake and somebody's going to think that you're fake. Oh no. And so then you start acting in weird, uncomfortable ways because you feel like you don't belong, and nor do you deserve to belong. And also that everybody else knows it too. What a terrible, terrible place. So I was thinking, is it only at work that you ever feel like that? Where like you have to do a presentation and you feel like you're not good enough. And I was starting getting confused, like, wait, have I ever felt imposter syndrome? But before I get into my personal stories about it, right? So then I realized that, of course, we have imposter syndrome in more than like the workplace, because we have it with everybody. For as long as you try to impress somebody and you're trying to like be something that you're not by yourself, like for example when you eat all nicely in front of people, and if you were by yourself you'd eat a completely different way, like stuff like that. Is that imposter syndrome, where you can't even eat the way you usually eat because you're around somebody else? Or like if you never swear in front of this person but when you go home you swear all the time? Is that imposter syndrome, where you're not being yourself because you wouldn't be accepted as yourself? In relationships where you put your best foot forward, is that an imposter syndrome? You don't deserve the love that somebody gives you because you yourself are not worthy of the love in your natural state, so then you have to make up another state that's more impressive, that's more loving, more attractive. So are we having imposter syndrome all over the place? And then we make up a new version of ourselves for the whole entire world in all these different spaces. For example, family, when you go around to see family and you're like, yeah, everything is great and this is what happened, and really you're not telling them the truth, that you're like crying every night and that you go hungry like twice a week. You're not being honest about your downfalls and your hardships, and you put on a mask to be around other people. So is that imposter syndrome, where I know that I'm digging deep here, yeah, but you're not able to be yourself comfortably, therefore you have to cover yourself so then you could be good enough for people. And so then it's not just in a workplace or to do with money, isn't it like everywhere where we are imposters of ourselves? I was just thinking, when you meet somebody, you're like, hi, my name is Nayna, nice to meet you. And can you imagine saying to your best friend like, hi, my name is Nayna, nice to see you? Like, you don't talk like that. You're like, yo, hi. What's up? Why are we, when we meet new people, we're not ourselves, are we? We put on this like tidy version of ourselves. So I think it happens everywhere. So then I was sitting there thinking, like, am I an alien? Why do I not feel like imposter syndrome? Because I started trying to find like an imposter syndrome. But do you know what's really funny? I have been an imposter forever. Because I was a foreigner and I didn't realize that that feeling is an imposter syndrome feeling that they're talking about. Because when I was a foreigner, and I say when because I feel like that's like so far behind me now, but for the longest time, maybe like 20 years of it, I felt like I was a misfit. Like, I don't belong here. Like, people know that I don't belong here, and they're kind of like being kind to me and allowing me to stay and treating me like I'm one of them, but I'm not one of them. I'm a foreigner. I don't belong with you guys. You guys are English and your hair is this way, your skin is that way, your accent is this way. And then me and my family, we talk Portuguese at home. We eat this food at home. We don't eat fish fingers and beans. Like, I'll never dream of eating fish fingers and beans. You guys have that like every night. So I felt like an outsider so long that it just became so normal to me. Like, oh yes, I'm the foreigner. Like, okay, let me be quiet because I don't want to stick out even more than I already am. So I didn't realize that I felt like an imposter in this country for a very long time. Not only that, the jobs that foreigner people get are of service to other people. And when I say service, I mean things that people should be able to do for themselves, like cleaning and cooking. And my mum was a cleaner and she was a housekeeper for this rich man for like years on end. And so then when I got a job, I went into what felt like it was a level up to her, what she was doing, but it was still very difficult, which was bartending and restaurant work. So I was there waitering your food and giving your drinks and hoping that you'd give me a tip. shit, but I'm there giving you stuff. And I'd see people time after time and they always come back and I'm like, how can you afford to eat out all the time like this? And I learned that 5-star treatment of like the customer's always right. And now the customer's not always right because time has moved on. But back in the day, the customer was always right. And this is the attitude that you had to, you know, be the servant. Back up straight, hands behind your back. I'm here to serve you. What do you need? What do you want? Anything you want, I'm gonna get it for you. This is the type of attitude that I was brought up with because of the jobs that I had from a very young age. So when I went into my first office job, I was pregnant with my son at 21 years old. That was the first time, this is gonna sound very bad, I was getting paid double the money to do 3 times less the work. And I was like, is this a joke? And of course, you would not see foreigners in that environment. And I was like, oh, I see. This is what people get to do. They don't work hard and they get paid much more money. Because by 11 p.m, I was shattered as a waitress. I used to come home and my body was like aching in bed and I was getting paid, what, £5.80 an hour? Then I went into an office job where I was sitting down the whole entire day and I was getting paid something like £10.80 an hour. And I'd go home at the end of the day and the only thing that would be hurting would be my head because I was tired in my head, but my body wasn't aching. So I felt like an imposter because of this good treatment. Like, oh gosh, it's because I have an English accent now. They're taking me as one of them and now they're giving me one of their jobs and now I'm getting treated good and not like a servant and not like a second-class citizen. And I'm one of them. Oh my gosh, are they gonna find me out? Are they going to like take this job from me? Like, am I allowed to be doing this? So that was the type of imposter syndrome, I guess, the closest that I've come to it. It's feeling like I'm a foreigner and I don't deserve to just sit here and do nothing while other people like me from my country, they're cleaning houses and that's about it. That's the only thing. Now you have Uber Eats and they're just on the peds everywhere delivering food from McDonald's. So here is where I think the reason why I've never had this imposter syndrome problem in a deep way, or in a way that's more obvious, is because like I truly don't believe that anybody's banging. I don't believe anybody is better than me. I refuse to believe it. Even if you're the most, if you bring Einstein to my face, I'd be like, yeah, but you've had time to sit there and think about that. I have not had the same time as you. So if I did have the same time as you, I think I'd get to where you got to. Oops. Is that really big-headed? Am I like a big-headed person? I'm not gonna make this negative because I know it's not negative. Like, no, I'm not big-headed, but I'm very confident and also I'm aware of my ability. So I know that if I learn something, I'm gonna be able to do it. And if I spend time with it, I'm gonna do it excellently. And it's that what Einstein did, like he did something excellently. So I have that type of brain that wants to do things in an excellent way and I have the ability to do it in an excellent way. So is that why I've never felt that imposter syndrome? Because it's like, no, you're not better than me. And I think that this was born after that job, after my son, where I realized, oh, hold on, this is a bit unfair. Well, hold on. And then that's when I realized also that there was such things as benefits because my mum wasn't allowed to have benefits. So she had to just work for her money. And in me, I was now allowed to have benefits where like the government actually helped me to live and they give me money to live. And then what? You pay my rent? Like what? And this is where I realized the privilege that I had access to being a citizen of this country. So I think then I started to realize that I wasn't an outsider, that this is just a privilege of a first world country and that this is a bit unfair that it doesn't happen worldwide. So then I started to feel like I could see clearly that the world is just unfair. We need to change it and whatever feels good, everybody deserves it. So then that's probably where I started to like reject that anybody's better than me. Like, no, they're not. Even if you're a better dancer, okay, give me some time, I'm gonna be as good as you. No. God, I could just hear and feel like that is so big-headed. Like, what? It shouldn't be though, because if a kid said to me, miss, I'm gonna train to be just as good as you at singing, I want to be just as good as you, then I wouldn't take offense to that, like, excuse me. But if they said, miss, I'm gonna be better than you, I'd be like, well, hold on. What do you mean better than me? So I don't think I want to be better than anybody either, but you're not better than me either. But of course, society is built on competition. You know, there could only be one winner of the World Cup, one winner of the tennis, whatever. One winner. There can only be one winner. So of course, then this competition makes you feel like you have somewhere to be, number one. And I guess people like me, it's like, well, yeah, if that's where I have to be, then I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be number one, because why not? And also, I'm not number two, so what? What? And maybe some people don't have that mindset where they're like, oh, I'm never gonna be good enough. I'm never gonna be number one. So then they don't believe for themselves what is expected of them. But here is the thing that I also realized. Everybody's going through the same story in their head, the same narrative in their head. Am I good enough? If everybody who starts a new job, oh my gosh, am I going to absolutely fail? Is everybody gonna like hate me? Am I like not good enough to have gotten this job? Is somebody gonna like be jealous of me if I am good enough for this job? Like, we're all going through the same thing, which we feel like we don't deserve something, we have something to prove, and we have to be good enough. And if we're not good enough, we get scared and we feel like somebody's going to judge us for not being good enough. Everybody is going through it, and they're on one step of the journey, because we're going to talk about when you get past the journey of the imposter syndrome and you move on to the next part of the journey. Regardless, somebody had to walk through that path of the journey of feeling like an imposter. Even if they're no longer feeling that way, we all go through it. We're all wondering, are we good enough? Is somebody going to think that I'm bad? Am I going to do something wrong and prove that I'm bad? I'm going to be so embarrassed. He's going to change his mind. Like, why did I hire her? Like, we have this whole parrot talking in our heads telling us that because we're scared, because the world has proven to us that there is competition, there is number one. So if I'm not trying to be number one, then I'm not good enough. Some people are more clever than that because they've spoken to themselves a lot. You get to conclusions in your head if you speak to yourself, like, well, hold on, because you start questioning everything, and then you come to new conclusions like, no, that's not true, because you speak to yourself and you go through information that doesn't make sense, and then you get your own conclusions in the end. But absolutely, you're not alone. 7-8 billion humans are on the path somewhere of imposter syndrome, feeling like you don't know if you belong or if you're good enough. But listen to this, yeah? Let's walk into a little bit of the hack, or a lot of it. If you spend time with your craft, your ability, your skills, your passion, whatever it is that you're doing that you feel an imposter syndrome with, and you're studying it and you're looking at it and you're asking questions about it and you're learning and you're focusing on it, you can never be an imposter. Because the opposite of an imposter is an informer, is an informative person who has knowledge and who has information. So if I have a problem, you can help me sort it because you have the information to help me and you know how to help me. That makes you helpful rather than an imposter. That makes you, yes, please stay. Because you know what you're talking about and you know what you're doing. So if you spend time with your craft, you can't help but become that, because you get more knowledge, you get more information, you're studying what you're doing. So for as long as you're studying it, for as long as you're passionate about it and you're trying to understand it and spend time with your craft, like I said, then you can never be an imposter, because then that means that you have information, even if it's a little bit, you have information, therefore you're not an imposter. Because an imposter doesn't know what they're doing, they don't know how to answer things, they have no clue what's going on. That is a true definition of an imposter. You don't know what you're doing and you don't have a clue how to help, and you're pretending that you know what you're doing, and you're pretending. So then therefore, I think that there's actually a reality of imposters, because I know for a fact that there's so many people out in the world who lie to get the job. So then the imposter is a reality rather than a syndrome. But if you know what you're talking about and you know information, you could never be an imposter. Nayna, how do you change this light? Or let me tell you how to change that light. I know how to tell you what to do. So that's what makes you a non-imposter. Learning and having knowledge about what it is that you're doing. And to understand something is power. And that's why it enrages me when people keep information from people, because you're denying them power. You're denying them power. Imagine if your house was about to blow up and 10 people knew that if they told you your house was about to blow up, you could do something, get yourself out of the house, get your belongings. That gives you power over your situation. If everybody kept it a secret and then suddenly it blew up, the outcome would be non-favorable to you. And so then knowledge is power. It gives you the tools you need to move. And I do not like it when people charge for information or when they withhold information. I do not like it. It makes me angry. And I can't wait for the day where every single human in this world will answer honestly about everything. Like, did you cheat on me? Yes, I did. Oh, just tell the truth, please. Information is power, and people deserve to have their power given to them once they ask for it. Me, I'll give it to them anyway without them asking for it, because I have OCD. I literally have OCD though. It's not something that I just say. I started to like really observe myself, and I was like, no, I have it. So this process is actually very automatic to be a non-imposter, because actually experience gets you there automatically. You can't help but become a pro at something through experience. And if you're not, again, it's probably because you're not learning at your job. You don't want to learn at your job. You actually go silent in your head. What? If you're silent in your head, wouldn't that be a good thing? You don't take things in and you don't want to learn and you just ignore all of the learning, because I've met people like that as well, like where they just don't want to learn. If you're doing that, then of course then you're a real imposter, like I said, because you don't want to learn, you're not trying to learn. But if you're trying to learn and you do learn, and then experience brings you there naturally. So I've gone so many times now to this school that now I don't need my sat nav anymore. Now I have experience of teaching. I'm not scared anymore to go into a classroom and talk, because experience got me there. So I'm no longer an imposter or feeling like I'm an imposter because I have too much experience. So I don't think we allow ourselves to get to that point before we call ourselves a professional. And also, where's the grace for that process? Like, let me become a professional. And until then, I'm a keen learner, I'm a passionate learner, and that's what we're doing. We're either learning or we become professionals after experiencing the learning. And you're either one or the other, and neither one of these two are imposters, because one is becoming the pro and one is already the pro. So there is no imposter here, and people who are becoming should be supported and loved and encouraged, and then the ones who are professionals should be loved and cherished and appreciated for the knowledge that they bring. Because isn't it nice to get the correct answer for things when you want it? Yes. But until experience brings you into a natural non-imposter syndrome, until experience brings you there, allow yourself to be the learner. I'm becoming a professional, I'm learning. And even then, by the first day, I've already got answers. So I'm already a non-imposter from the first day, because I can already tell you, oh, this is that, this is what I learned today. I'm already helpful, I already have power. Even though I don't have 100% of it, I have 5% of it from today, or whatever it is, 1% of it from today. So therefore I'm not an imposter, because I'm on my way to being a professional. And is that the problem? Are we lying about where we are in life? Or in job posts where they make the job sound so professional and so like difficult, and it's really not that difficult. And so then you like on your first day you're scared, like, oh gosh, like, they've accepted me, but really, did I oversell myself? Did I exaggerate on how good I could be at this? And oh, that looks a little bit difficult, am I going to be able to do it? And again, after 6 months and you've done it and you've gone through it, what do you become? A professional at something you were scared at. So of course, if you're lying about your skills, then you have every right to feel like an imposter. But I feel like this problem arises in people who are not lying and they do have experience. If I was a PA for like 10 years and then suddenly the Queen asked me, can you be my PA? I'd be like, even though I've been doing it for 10 years, but it's the Queen. It's like, okay. You know, I'm qualified for the job, and yes, it's going to be more difficult, but give me the grace to adjust, right? To learn the new difficult ways of serving a queen instead of a CEO. Like, give me the time and the space, and then be transparent about that adjustment. Like, oh, I think it's going to be a bit different, but if I learn there the way I learned here, then of course I'm going to become great there. And in that first month, I might be a bit nervous. Like, let's be transparent about the process of becoming a professional, and let's be supported through that process. And then therefore, you're never going to be an imposter unless you're lying your way through life. Then of course you are an imposter. It's not a syndrome, it's a fact. You are an imposter. And so then when you know you become confident naturally, you already know yourself when you become confident and natural at something. Like, oh no, I know what I'm doing, I'll go because I know what I'm doing. So we know when the confidence arrives with something, and you know you're not an imposter because you have the confidence. So until we get there into that confidence, let's have the passion to learn, and that already automatically makes you good enough. And remember that everybody's going through this process. Are you a learner or a professional? You're either one of them, or you're rejecting the learning. And the only imposter is the one who rejects the learning and who's pretending that they're not rejecting the learning. That's the only imposter in the story. Remember that. So the hack. I felt like it was quite easy. Like, as soon as I saw it, like, okay, everybody's in the same boat, number one, so why the heck am I gonna feel like it's just me? No, if I'm an imposter, every human is an imposter, because we're all going through the same thing, trying to learn, trying to become. So that alone should calm you down. Like, everybody is going through the same thing, but also everybody's going through the same secretive thing in their head, because we all try to pretend that we're perfect. It's all just an act. I don't know why humans act. I don't know why they pretend, but they do pretend. Like, yes, I know what I'm doing, and they don't. Why are you switched off, madam? I did not switch that off. I don't appreciate it. That's what happens when you buy cheap things, or you make cheap things, because obviously we should just be making them to be good enough. Anyway, so you have every right to be here like everybody else. If you're trying to become a professional at this, I also have the right to try too. So everybody has a right to become a professional or to try to be a professional. That's number one. Number two, until I get to the professional, I'm allowed to be a learner, a trier, and I don't get to be an imposter because I'm a learner. Let's be transparent at that. That's number two. And then number three is that if I have information to offer you and I am helpful to you, I'm never going to be an imposter. So if those three things stay in your head, then you should never be uncomfortable in any space whatsoever. And until you become great at something naturally, then you're a learner. And it's okay that you're there, because billions of people are there doing something or the other. And so then you can just relax, calm down, like relax. I'm allowed to be here because you're here. Fair enough, if there was no humans here, then maybe I'll be like, are humans allowed here? If one human's here, then obviously I'm allowed here. Yeah, this world's so confusing. Because we stop people from like crossing this bridge because the government said you're not allowed to cross the bridge. No, you're not allowed in the White House because it's our building, it's not your building. It's so weird, this world. So let's move on to the quote of the week. The desire wouldn't be in your heart if you weren't capable of giving it. What? The desire wouldn't be in your heart if you weren't capable of achieving it. My handwriting, sorry about that. Then I put a little love heart there, and then I said, so nice, it's true, it must be true. And it must be true. It must be true, because like how evil would God be to like make you love something so much, and then in the end God's like, made you look, I was only joking, this is not for you. Sorry, I know you love this, but nah, it's not for you. Like, it's just a sick, mean joke. I think that like a lot of parents play on their children actually a lot of the time, because like the kids is like, mommy, I want to do this, and they're like, no, you can't do that, that's not gonna give you any money. Mommy, I want to do this. No, that's embarrassing to our family. But if it's in your heart, I think it was meant for you to study, to become the person who asks all the questions, the person who learns, the person who's keen to learn. And then after that, you become the professional at it. Simple. So anybody who's negative about this process should be pushed away, should be ignored, and should be left over there, away from here where I am. Because the learner has a right to learn, and they have a right to be encouraged, and they have a right to be excited to be there. So then learn. And don't be mocked for learning or rushed for learning, just learn. And then when you become a professional and somebody wants to say, no, you're not, again, they could just go away, because you have answers, don't you? So even if you don't speak the smartest and you don't sound the smoothest, I don't know what smooth's supposed to sound like, you're still an informer, you're still a teacher, you're still a professional. So don't let people mock you, and don't let them undermine you for your process of learning to professionalism. And let's all learn to support each other in the process of learning and mastering something and then becoming great at it, where then you are able to help others because you are so knowledgeable about it yourself. Let's do that. Let's support each other. Okay? Okay. So you're not an imposter unless you're lying. If you're lying, stop doing that. And if you're not lying, then you're not an imposter. And if you're trying and you have passion for your subject and your craft, you're not an imposter. I'm glad I was able to tell you that. And please, just relax, calm down. And if people make you feel like you're an imposter, even though you're not, then those people are not very nice. We're just not like aware enough. So I remember like people coming to my family gatherings, and then I could see them feeling a bit like out of place, like, oh, your family's a bit loud. And then like I kind of play along with it, like, yeah, my family is loud, and like we're just like crazy, and like, oh, look at you feeling like shy. And it's almost like a bit funny. But in reality, that's not even the kind thing to do. The kind thing to do is like, oh no, we're absolutely humans here, and so are you. So don't feel out of place here. And if we're loud, it's because we've become that way and we're comfortable around each other. It's not because we're just a loud family. This is just comfort mixed with character. So you could join us if you want, or if you don't like it, then you could leave, but like never think that we are something better than you because of this and that, because it's not true. And then we play on those things in life. I'm important, yes, I'm special, because look, unless we're all special. Anyways, okay, I am done. I will see you next time. Yeah, until next time, goodbye.